Hello, welcome to my channel, and if you've been here before, welcome back. My name's Kat, and today I thought we could just do a really easy get ready with me whilst I talk about some albums that for me make me think about summertime and things that I really enjoy listening to when it's a bit brighter outside, and it might just brighten your day a little bit, which would be quite nice considering everything's a bit miserable at the moment. Let's zoom in. We'll start with some eyes and let's talk music. I'm not going to talk too much about the products that I'm using or like techniques, because it's not really like a tutorial or anything. It's just me playing, and I'm going to do something really easy, kind of grungy, smoky eye with a red lip. It's one of my favourite looks to wear. It's one of my go-tos, so I thought that'd be quite easy for me to just pop on whilst we chat. Gonna do my eyes first in case I have any fallout. So I'm just gonna stick on some eyeshadow primer and we can talk about the first album. The first one I want to talk about is by Toi et Moi, and it is the album Outer Peace. It came out January last year, I think, and it was all I listened to for a long while. It's so good. It's just very, well, I don't know how to describe it. It's like really dancey, really poppy, but not poppy is not the word. It's more, synth based, really bassy, lots of really good bass lines. And it brings me so much joy. We saw him at All Points East last year and it was incredible. It was one of the best shows I've ever been to, and it was really sweet because on this main stage it had like a bit where you can walk out onto it, and he walked all the way down when he was singing the bridge for Freelance, and then he sort of forgot that he had to play, so he had to run all the way back up in time for the chorus, and it was very sweet. And yeah, my favourite song on the album is Freelance. I could just do like my pick for like best song on the album as well, in my opinion. And again, these are songs that make me think of summer. They're not necessarily like summery albums, but they're ones that I really enjoy listening to in the summer and make me think of summer because I've listened to them in summer, if that makes sense. The palette I'm going to be using today is actually the Sosu and Kaylee Urban Bible palette. This is my favourite for just really easy neutral looks, but it's also got some really nice pops of colour. I really enjoy this palette. And I'm just going to take the shade Saviour, which is this really nice warm brown up here, and I'm literally just going to pop this all over the lid, blend it right up. I'm not doing too much with this. The second album I want to talk about is by Best Coast, and it is the album Crazy For You. You can't really talk about summery albums without talking about some good old surf, rock, indie, that kind of stuff. I love Best Coast. I love all their stuff, but really the first album is my absolute favourite. It's really catchy, they do really easy music to listen to. I absolutely love this album, and it brings me a lot of nostalgia of being like 16, 17 and really getting into surf rock and surf pop, and I absolutely love it. And my favourite song on there is Boyfriend. I think it's definitely the song I've listened to the most, and it's the first song I thought about when I thought of this album. Next album I want to talk about is Coastal Grooves by Blood Orange. This is one of my just favourite albums ever, and it's actually kind of sad because a long while ago when I went to Rough Trade for the very first time, I bought it and I was so excited to have it on vinyl. I used to collect vinyl. I don't anymore, it's just too expensive. And I got it home and it just skipped, and I think it couldn't really listen to it. Like only like 2 or 3 tracks on it actually worked, which really sucks. I think I still own it because it's really sentimental to me, but it really sucks that I just can't listen to it. This album is it's a bit more chilled. I absolutely love this album. It's really funky, it's quite soulful. I really, really love Blood Orange. I think he's an incredible artist. And my favourite is Can We Go Inside Now. It's a really nice album. It's something I really like to listen to when I'm like sorting things out. I don't know. I love that album a lot. It's really good. Just blending this brown out with a really big fluffy brush just to kind of blend out those edges, but I will, because I'm doing my eyes first, once I've done my face makeup, I will go back and sort of blend it into that as well. I just want this everywhere. And the next album I want to talk about is one of my all-time favourite albums. I absolutely love this album, and it's actually by, I don't know if it's Dejo or Joe, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but it's called 2020, and it is incredible. Dejo is Joe Keery, who plays Steve Harrington in Stranger Things, and he is just as good a musician as he is musician. He is just as good a musician as he is an actor, and it's such an incredible album. If you like sort of, I guess it's like psychedelic rock, but if you like Mac DeMarco, but you want something that actually all the songs sound different and it's not just the same riff over and over, then Dejo is definitely someone that I would recommend. I absolutely adore that album, and it was definitely one of my favourite finds. I can't remember when it came out, but I definitely listened to it a lot last sort of the end of summer. It's really amazing, and I really hope one day he can tour the UK and we can see him live, because I would absolutely love to see it live, because he does like all of his band dresses as him, like they all wear the mullet wig and a tash, and it's really strange and I really love it. My favourite song on that album is Personal Lies. I love that song. I just went in with a darker brown and kind of darkened up the outer corners. So I'm just blending that into the rest of it. Trying to feel for my glitter primer. Yeah. Oh, it's right here. I'm gonna put a little bit of this like coppery bronzy shade called 1996. I'm just gonna tap a little bit of this over the lid. So I'm just gonna stick some glitter primer down. Just because this shade is so crumbly, I don't want to get it everywhere. I've made a mess. Let's talk about another album. Okay, so Native 2 by Is Tropical. This album was like the soundtrack of my summer the year I left school, because that summer I went on holiday with my mum and her partner, and it was a really nice holiday. We went to Corfu, we stayed in a hotel that was like no one under the age of 16 could be there, so there were no screaming kids, and I just spent the whole time either in the pool or sunbathing next to the pool, reading a book and listening to this album. I had one of I can't remember how many gigs, but it was like one of those fat iPods that had so much memory on it. I left it on a bus. I was heartbroken. Anyway, irrelevant. But I had it on my iPod. I had never listened to it. And then when I was on that holiday, discovered it, and it was all I listened to. Now that album just makes me think of lying on a sunbed and just having the most relaxed time. It was one of those really classic holidays where like you do nothing during the day and then at night you go back to the hotel room, you have a shower and you get ready for dinner. Like that was just what you did every day, which I don't know if I could do that now, but amazing. Love that album, and my favourite song on it is Oranges. It's just really, it's just indie rock, really guitar-based indie rock, but also very electronic. It's a really nice mix of the two, and it's very cheerful, and I just have such good memories with that album. I'm now going to move on to my bass. I think I'm going to stay this zoomed in. I think it works fine. I'm using the NYX Bear With Me skin tint. I love this stuff. I bought it on a whim when I was trying to buy things that matched my tan, like fake tan, and I really like it. It's nice and thin, not too much coverage, and I don't use much. I'm just gonna even pat that around. And I have my first ever beauty sponge. I've never had a sponge before, and I used it last night when I got bored, and I really like it. It's one of the Juno Co microfiber sponges, because I usually just use my fingers, but this is a really nice little tool. Because I've got to cover up some glitter I've got all over my face. Okay, the next two artists I have to speak about, I've cheated a little because I have chosen two albums, because these artists are some of my favourite ever artists, so it was impossible for me to just choose one album. That was just too difficult. So the first one is the band Metronomy, who are probably my number one favourite band ever. And the two albums I have, Summer '08 and the English Riviera. I discovered Metronomy a really long time ago. I was going to the NME tour when Two Door Cinema Club were headlining, and this is when they only had one album. I can't remember, I must have been either 14 or 15. For context, I'm 23. And I remember before, my friend who I was going with, who before we went, we dyed my fringe blue. And we were both drunk because we'd been drinking, I can't even remember what, but I just remember it was mixed with some fruit squash, and it was awful, god awful, but I mean we were having a good time. And then and he showed me The Bay by Metronomy, which is probably one of their most well-known songs, and I was like, oh yeah, this is really cool, I quite like it. And he was like, yeah, they're one of the support bands. I was like, oh sweet. And then we got there as they were finishing up, I think. I can't remember. But one of their last songs was A Thing For Me, which is a song on their album, Nights Out, which is definitely my favourite Metronomy album. But it's not really one I associate with summer, so I'm not going to talk about it here. However, I heard that song and I was just like, what? Like, this is the band I've been looking for. And I went home and again downloaded their entire discography, and I've loved them ever since. I need some concealer for this massive, I don't know what happened here. I don't know if it's a spot or if I cut myself, but it's kind of painful. I'm just using a little bit of the e.l.f. Camo Concealer in Fair Beige, because I have no tan on. Let's talk about the English Riviera first, because that came out first. This album is it is summer in an album. It's incredible, and you probably, I mean, if you haven't heard of Metronomy, you've probably either heard the songs The Bay or The Look, because The Look was on a Barclays advert for a long time, so a lot of people know The Look. And the Bay is just, I don't know if that was on an advert, but it's such a good song, and just all their music's really feel good. And I'm a really big fan of music that doesn't take itself too seriously, and the lyrics are sort of not silly, but like they're not super serious, and that is very much what Metronomy are like. They don't have really serious lyrics, and I like that a lot. This album just makes me think of, you know, sitting in the garden having a cider, or walking to and from work in the sunshine. I absolutely love this album. It's one of my favourite Metronomy albums. Not my favourite, but one of. And my favourite song on it is definitely She Wants. I actually just learnt the bass line for it. Somehow managed to get eyeshadow and glitter on everything that I have sitting here. I don't know how I did that. But yeah, everything's very bassline heavy, and very synthy and dancey, and it's just such a great album. And the second album from Metronomy I have to talk about is called Summer '08, and this came out, I want to say 2017, I think, or like end of 2016, I can't remember, but it took a while for this album to grow on me, and now it's one of my favourite albums ever. So Metronomy are kind of like Tame Impala in the way that they are. Metronomy is one person, it's Joseph Mount, but he has a consistent band that play with him, but he writes all the music, he records all the music. And I really love this album. It's very nostalgic of, obviously, I think it's like his college days or his uni days, and it's very funky, it's very feel good, but also there's a couple of songs on there that are really sad, but in like a, I don't know, because the music that goes with them is not necessarily sad. I don't know how to describe it. Like, it's a really good album, but my favourite is definitely Miami Logic. I think it's so funky, it's so catchy, and I don't know how many times I'm going to say I just love that album. Just quickly to say, for bronzer, I'm using one from W7. It's called the Life's a Beach, I think, bronzer, and this is in... I don't think it actually... Oh, it's in Beach Bum. This was so cheap. And it's so nice. It's just a really good colour. I just found that I'm going to use that Revolution one that I spoke about in my favourites over the top, just to give it a bit of a sheen. But I just found that it just didn't have enough colour for me. It wasn't giving me that really bronzy look that I really enjoy. But I'm just going to go back over it with the bronzer from Revolution, just to give it that sheen. The next artist, which I have also cheated with, is PJ Harvey. She is just my favourite solo artist ever, I'd probably say. Absolutely adore her, and I really love sort of because she's explored quite a few genres, and I love her interpretation of all of them. Two albums I want to talk about are Stories from the City and Stories from the Sea, and To Bring You My Love. I'll start with To Bring You My Love because it came out first. I think this album came out in 1990 something. It's in the 90s, and she was just doing this like, I don't even know, it's kind of experimental, but not at the same time, because it's not really weird, but her music's so intense and heartfelt, and you can just tell that she has such a passion for it. And To Bring You My Love is just such an incredible album, and it's got a really nice mix of like kind of stompy, like distorted guitar songs, but then songs with, you know, acoustic guitars and violins and stuff that are really beautiful. and it's such a diverse album. It's incredible, and my favourite song is definitely Down by the Water. When I first started listening to PJ Harvey, which I think was a couple of summers ago, she was all I listened to, and that album was all I listened to, and it was just, that song was on repeat constantly, and it's just so kind of mysterious sounding. I don't know how else to put it, but it's a really sexy song, but the subject matter is not sexy because it's about a girl drowning, but like the actual musicality of it is so interesting, and it's mostly just bass and percussion. There's really not that much to it, but her voice is just so unique and incredible that it works, not needing anything else. My camera stopped recording and I didn't realise. So what you missed was I finished up doing my eyes and I did my eyebrows, but that was pretty much all you missed. You missed me talking shit for ages. So I'm just gonna try and do it a bit quicker this time. So the second album I want to talk about by PJ Harvey is Songs from the City and Songs from the Sea. And this album's a lot more cheerful, a lot more hopeful. It's a lot more folky, sort of indie rocky. And my favourite song on there is definitely Good Fortune. It's a song that needs to be used in a montage in a film, and if it hasn't been done, I've copyrighted it. No, that's a lie. It needs to be done, and I'm not a filmmaker. So someone do it now. And then the last album I want to talk about sort of in depth is by another one of my favourite artists, solo artists who I adore. She's queer, she's flamboyant, she's just incredible, and it is St. Vincent, and it's the album Mass Seduction. I absolutely love this album. When it came out, I listened to it non-stop. I actually got the chance to see her in Cambridge a couple of years ago, and it was just phenomenal. She's so incredible. I love her guitar playing style because she's incredibly talented. Like, she's such a talented guitar player, but the way she plays it is kind of messy. I don't know if that's the word, but that's the way that I play guitar, and I'm just super inspired by her, and I relate to her a lot. Also being a queer woman in music, and I absolutely love her, and that album is it's just so catchy and sexy and vibey, and it's definitely my favourite of all her albums. And my favourite song on there is Saviour. I think that is such a good song. And then last but not least, you cannot talk about music that makes you think of summertime without talking about King of the Beach by Waves. I mean, the most iconic surf rock album to have ever been made, probably in the last sort of 10 years. It's about drugs and drinking, being on the beach, skateboarding. I mean, what else do you need in a surf rock album, really? My favourite song in it is definitely Idiot. It's just iconic. I don't know how I did my eyes first, and I still have managed to have glitter everywhere. Just popping in a little inner corner highlight, and I'm using my Revolution Pro Skin Finish in Opalescent, which is what I also used as my face highlight. And put a little bit more on my nose. I don't know which one to use. I don't know whether to go for a more orange red or a darker red. I think I'm going to go for the orangey one. And this is the CYO lipstick in Tune. I'm sorry, but these are being discontinued, and it's criminal. Like, this brand is being discontinued. This lipstick specifically, actually I have had a couple of other lipsticks from this same line, and they're nowhere near as good as this one. I absolutely love this lipstick. A little bit of setting spray, and then we are complete. I used the Revolution Glow Fix, but this just smells like alcohol. I wouldn't recommend it. I'm just using it up before I open a new bottle of setting spray. Okay, I am done. So here you are, here's everything done. This is one of my absolute favourite looks to wear just when I don't know what to wear and I don't want to risk it with something that's going to go smudgy everywhere, because the eyeshadow is already smudgy. This lipstick is it's one of my favourite formulas, and I'm so sad that, you know, they're not going to make these anymore. However, I do have a backup. There's not many lipsticks that I have backups of, but this is one of them. It's so soft and creamy and it lasts a really long time. I actually wore this when we went to Latitude last year for pretty much the whole day, and it lasted really well. I love it, and I'm really loving this Bare With Me skin tint. I'm really enjoying this. I think it looks really nice, really natural. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed listening to me ramble about music that makes me think of summertime, sunshine, sitting in a beer garden with my friends, drinking cider and chatting shit. Hopefully we'll be able to do that at some point this summer, keeping our fingers crossed for everything to get better, for everyone to get better, and for the world to survive, which would be nice. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you would like to like and subscribe. See you in my next one. Lots of love, take care, cheers, thanks, bye.